Good morning, Drawing One. We're starting charcoal project today, and our supplies are the little packet of charcoal sticks, which they are a little long, so you're going to take one of them out and you're going to break it in either a third or a half, so it's a more manageable piece. You've got your charcoal pencil, which looks like this. It's a soft. The way that you sharpen these is you pull the little string down and slowly peel the brown paper. Mine's already sharpened. And then your erasers, your clicky eraser, which looks like this, your hard white eraser, and your kneaded eraser, which looks like this. And you remember how to clean it. When it gets dirty, you just pull it out like chewing gum. And then a paper towel folded, and your stump or your tortilla for blending. And if you don't like the feel of charcoal on your hands, you're welcome to buy some surgical latex gloves and wear those. I don't mind the feel on my hands. It's non-toxic. Charcoal is just basically burnt sticks, but some people don't like the chalky feel on their hand. And we're gonna start with, I'm gonna load this on Blackboard for you. I'd like you guys to practice just with a simple 1 egg on 1 sheet of paper just to get warmed up. And then I'd like you to focus on either your own arrangement of 3-4 eggs at home that you set up your own still life, or I will load 2 examples of these photographs that I took with a nice grouping of 3 eggs. And using a whole sheet of paper, we're going to shade them in charcoal, and we're going to try and match the values closely as we can. So starting off, I'm going to be sketching with the charcoal pencil. I'm going to keep my lines nice and light. You see I've already sketched my shapes. This gets dark pretty easily, so I would keep your pressure very light as you're sketching your proportion of your eggs. Reminding ourselves about the sighting technique, reminding us to maybe put a little mark halfway from the top and bottom of the paper, maybe on the sides a little mark halfway. And I'm noticing that when I draw a line across, this left egg is a little taller than this egg. I notice that half my paper pretty much splits the back egg in half. I notice that the bottom of the biggest egg here is a little lower than this bottom. So that's how I decided where to put this egg, is I just figured out, well, where's the bottom of that egg, and then I dropped it a little bit lower. And once you get that, I'd like you guys to start shading with the pencil. The pencil is not as dark. Now let me move the camera closer for you guys. You can see me working on this egg. So it's nice to start off with your light grays and then work your way up to your darks. And you're remembering to try and keep the strokes of your pencil curvy. That'll help that illusion of the roundness of the egg. And it's just like regular pencil, it's just a little more grainy and gets a little darker. You can get richer shadows. If you want to skip right to the charcoal stick, you can, but they're nice in combination. The pencil is good for detail and for lighter grays. The stick is good for darker grays and big areas. If you feel comfortable with the stick, using it on the side, you could actually lay in huge areas of gray pretty quickly. So I'm okay with you using either tool in whichever way you want. So I'm laying in my light grays, either with the stick or with the pencil. And then I'm moving up to my darker tones, my darker shadows. And they both blend really pretty well with the paper towel or the stump. You can see how smooth the charcoal gets pretty quickly. And this is the paper towel is nice to transition from my shadow from the gray area into the white side of the egg. If I go too far and I lose my white, remember that's what your kneaded eraser is good for, pulling out the light values again. Sometimes it's almost easier to blend when you make the whole form dark and pull the whites out. could use my stump to blend the edge of the white into the gray again. And I'm ready to add this extra dark tone that runs right in here on the egg. You notice that some of the charcoal when I'm using the stick is filtering down. If you get a lot of dust and charcoal sediment on your paper, just dump it in a trash can or blow it off if you're in an area where you don't mind getting charcoal and you're outside, or you have newspaper down or something, a drop cloth down on your kitchen table or wherever you're working. You can just blow it or just dump it in the trash can. So again, I'm looking for that nice blending, nice transitions. Where does it seem a little harsh? It still seems a little harsh here to me. So I'm going to use a clean part of the paper towel and see if I can blur that edge of that shadow into the light. And if you have any really strong highlights, where there's an extra strong white here, there's a little pinprick of white there, that's a good area to use your clicky eraser and pull out that really strong light. And then take your stump and just on the edge of that white, soften it a little bit. And you'll get that illusion of glossy surface where the light's bouncing off of it, which the egg has. So I'm looking at, there's a little bit of a light shadow here, highlight here, so I can pull that out. Looks like it's about right there. So it's a matter of pulling out your lights, putting in your darks, pulling out your lights, putting in your darks, and getting it to where you feel like you're matching the egg value as close as possible. And then I notice that at the edge of some of these eggs, there's a little thin beam of light, a little line of light. I see it here on this top edge. So once I get this all smoothed out, I could pull that out with my clicky. Another tool, another little trick that I use this hard white eraser for is I want to lay in my background. Remember, we're not doing heavy outlines. We don't want any of those heavy cartoon lines that'll flatten out the egg. But I want the egg to pop from the background. So once I put this dark background in, the egg will pop out. And a quick way to smooth out this background, I could do it with my paper towel, but it's hard for me to get my paper towel right up and have a clean edge. I can use the edge of the hard white eraser, not pressing hard enough to erase, but pressing hard enough to smooth out the charcoal. So you can see how that gives a nice smooth backdrop and really pops the egg out. The clicky eraser will do the same thing. If I have a little area where I want to clean up this little corner here, I can use that. All right, we are working on the backdrop, trying to figure out the grays and the lights and the table, and trying to see where something is melding, mushing into the backdrop. I don't like this top of the egg. It's mushing into the same value of the backdrop. So I have to decide who's lighter, who's darker. I feel like the egg is lighter, so I might take my kneaded and lighten up that corner. And I might also darken the backdrop a little bit. Okay. And we'll talk about spray fixative next week to protect these drawings when you're all done with them. They can smear pretty easily because the charcoal that we're working with is pretty soft. So it's nice to put a coat of spray fixative on them, and we'll talk about that next week. All right. So any questions? Shoot me an email or a text and send me your progress, and I look forward to seeing these. and have fun. You're either, again, working from the photographs that I'm going to post on Blackboard, or you can set up your own arrangement of eggs. I would say 3 to 4 to 5 eggs, no more than 5. We want them fairly large, and you're going to use the whole paper. All right, have fun.